I saw a light when you passed me by. The reason why I shine, you're the reason why. I thought I caught your eyes, the love is blind. I thought I saw you smile. I saw a light when you passed me by. The reason why I shine, you're the reason why. I thought I caught your eyes, the love is blind. I thought I saw you smile.
Hi, friends. Welcome back to the Geneva Theater Guild's final week of Playwrights Play Readings Live Online. We are excited to have you join us tonight as we present a fantastic final lineup of shows. My name is Lucas Riegel, and I am part of the Geneva Theater Guild Board of Directors. I joined the board in late 2019 after initially serving as stage manager on our production of Spamalot that previous summer. And before we begin, I really want to give a shout out to all my fellow GTG board members and to all of our collaborators, directors, actors, technicians for really working their hardest to keep live theater going as best they could over this last year. And we are so grateful to you for hanging with us through all the growing pains and are so happy to be returning to the live stage this summer with our outdoors hybrid drive-in, sit-down, COVID-safe mosh pit or streaming event, Hedwig and the Angry Inch, directed by Jennifer Walzak and Sean Britton Milligan. The show will be performed July 22nd through the 25th, starting at 7:30 each evening on location at the Old Geneva train station next to the Public Safety Building in downtown Geneva, New York. For more information, including audition information, please visit the GTG website or our Facebook page. A couple quick announcements right up top. The Geneva Theater Guild is a nonprofit organization that relies on the support of our patrons and local businesses to keep us running through the year. Due to the pandemic, we have had to cancel many of these events that are so vital to keeping us running. So that's where we humbly and gratefully turn to you. If you are able, please consider donating to the Geneva Theater Guild. If you're watching on our website, you can use the donate button that should be above your video right up there, or you can use the button on the header on the main GTG page. Or if you prefer it old school, we will always accept donations by mail at our P.O. Box, which is P.O. Box 424, Geneva, New York, zip code 14456. Once again, that's P.O. Box 424 in Geneva, New York, 14456. Donations made during tonight's performance will go to benefit the Geneva Theater Guild as we prepare for our summer 2021 series, which includes the aforementioned live hybrid performance of Hedwig and the Angry Inch. Thank you for your generosity and support in keeping theater alive in the Finger Lakes. Tonight's performance is recorded live and will be available on our website for the next week. If someone you know wanted to attend but couldn't make it tonight, let them know. Thank you to the actors and directors of this event for persevering through this uncertain time to help us bring you live theater via a new platform. And thank you to the authors of these incredible works for allowing us to present them over the last 6 weeks. After tonight's performance, we will hold a live talkback session with the directors, cast, and authors of the shows. Please stick around to the end and feel free to ask us questions in the comments, and we will be sure to answer them. And remember to stick around to the end of the performance to learn the recipe from It's Your Mother for our giveaway of an FLX basket full of goodies. The guideline for submissions is to submit the full recipe to us in a creative format. This could mean making the recipe and documenting that journey, designing a piece of paper with the recipe on it, singing the recipe to us in song. There is no limit to what you could do. Submissions will be accepted once tonight's performance is over through our website. If you're watching via our website right now, you should see the submissions button right up there. Submissions close 1 week after tonight. And now, without further ado, I'd like to present our first show for the evening.
Thank Emily Richard Manley, directed by Roger Gans, with Keisha Cherie Hartzog as Elizabeth, and Kimberly Day as Mary, narrated by Catherine Loomis. The play takes place on a crowded train to New York from Boston. Elizabeth is sitting in an aisle with her tray table down in front of her. She is engrossed in a newspaper folded to the crossword when Mary appears in the aisle. Elizabeth is wearing a tailored suit. Mary is casually dressed. The time is the present. Mary stands in the aisle, Elizabeth holding a to-go coffee in one hand and a rolling suitcase in the other.
Excuse me. Sorry. That's the only seat open.
Elizabeth picks up a pen and paper and her own to-go coffee cup and lifts the tray. Mary Mary realizes her luggage on the overhead rack while holding the copy. She hands it to Elizabeth.
Could we hold this for a sec? Thanks.
An iPod, an earphone, a small hardbound book, a pen and journal, and a sealed mason jar, half out of her purse, and puts them with her coffee on her now lowered tray.
Thanks.
No, not at all.
Hi. Mary Gerard. Just Mary. Sorry about all the hassle.
Yes, of course. Elizabeth Courtney.
Is that the Times crossword puzzle?
Yes, it is.
My husband used to love that thing too. I never understood it. He used to do it in pen as well. So cocksure of himself. Just like you. Oh, I mean the pen. Sorry.
Forgive me, Mr. I'd love to chat, but this is demanding all of my attention. So if you'll
Of course. Absolutely. I'm sorry. Bathroom?
Yes. Do you know where it is?
It's that way. No problem. Keep an eye on it.
Yes, certainly. That's very kind of you.
But the paper slid off the tray when you got up. I grabbed it. I helped noticing.
I beg your pardon.
27 across. Leverage. Stall.
Well, thank you for your contribution. But I tried that as a matter of course.
Well, how did you spell Stalton? T-E-I or T?
E, I believe, but
Well, there's your problem.
yes. Well,
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interfere. It's used to drive Wally crazy too when I did that.
Elizabeth puts the folded newspaper in her briefcase and pulls out a large folder filled with printed material.
Sorry. I should have known better.
it's of no consequence, but please excuse me. I have accomplished before I reach New York.
Yes, but I do have to ask one more favor.
Yes.
It's my turn to pee. Thanks so much. I'll just be a minute.
The movement of the train pushes Mary's book to the edge of her tray. As Elizabeth stops the book from falling, she notices its title and apparent age.
Thanks. That should do it for a while. Thank you.
Please forgive me. It seems intrusive, but while you're away from the seats, I couldn't help noticing the book you're reading.
Oh, yes?
Are you aware of its value?
Exterior or interior?
Pardon?
Well, I mean, if you're talking about the words themselves, then yes, I'd say I'm aware of their value. I consider them almost priceless.
Well, yes, assuredly, that's true. I teach Dickinson, among others, at best. However, I am a bit of a collector, and in the event you aren't aware of it, that is a first edition of rather rare collection. If you're interested, I'd be happy to send you some paperwork that explains how such things are valued to make you a generous offer.
I'm not interested.
Elizabeth takes out a business card and places it on Mary's tray.
Just in case you change your mind.
Listen, Elizabeth, I'm I'm sorry about my curtness earlier. I'm just a bit prickly when it comes to Emily.
Not at all. Was it a gift, or does it have some other sentimental attachment?
No, just a big fan.
Books like this?
Well, quite a few, yes.
Well, be sure to hold on to this in the event you'd like to know what they may be worth.
Yes, I'll be sure to do that, Elizabeth. Meanwhile, I need another favor, and maybe I can do you one.
Excuse me?
I need some more caffeine. And I saw you shaking your cup just then. If you let me disturb you one more time, I'll grab two.
Yes, of course, but I'm quite fine.
It's really no more trouble to carry two cups than one. They give you one of those cardboard trays, and I still have a decent sense of balance.
Yes, surely, but that isn't
Listen,
necessary.
Elizabeth, no, it's not necessary, but I'm going anyway, and it doesn't come with any conversational expectations. So, last chance. Do you want a fresh, hot cup of coffee or not?
Well, yes, then. But wait, I insist upon paying.
Just insist when I get back. Do you want anything in it?
No, just black, please. That's very kind of you.
If you'll grab Wally there and that other stuff and maybe put my tray up for a minute, I'll squeeze in.
I insist upon paying for them. Wait, what was that you called this Wally?
What's left of him?
I beg your pardon, him?
My husband Wally's ashes.
She pulls away from the object and in doing so scatters some of her papers on the floor.
Good grief, Miss.
Gerard.
Well, please take that thing from my tray this instant, Miss Gerard.
I can assure you he's harmless in this condition, Elizabeth. Shall I pick these up or have I jarred your sensibilities too much?
Elizabeth reaches down to pick up the papers within her own reach. Mary picks up those closest to her one at a time. She reads the headings on some of them as she's picking them up. She pauses over one.
If you please. What are you doing? Please hand those back.
I was just taking a moment to offer a prayer of thanks to the god of coincidence, my favorite deity.
Please return those papers immediately.
Do you teach him too?
Yes, I do. Why do you ask?
This organ mischief, this profane caprice, it's one of my favorites.
Mary pulls an old Polaroid photo from her wallet.
Classical and religious metaphors in W.S. Hopkins' erotic poems. Is that the lecture title?
You're a fan of him as well, I suppose.
Yeah, you might say that. And I have an extensive collection of not only his books, but also his letters.
Miss Gerald,
Gerard.
Miss Gerard, I appreciate your interest in the subject, but I am an authority on Mr. Hopkins' work. And outside of the estate, there is no collection of letters. Although those of us in the business, so to speak, truly wish there were so.
Mary puts the mason jar back on Elizabeth's tray.
Take that off of my tray or I'm warning you.
Wally.
She then props the photo against the jar.
Wally, meet Elizabeth, an acolyte.
Miss Gerard, I swear I will call for the... That's it, it, is that W.S. Hopkins?
Wally. Yes.
Where did you get this?
I hope you listen to your students more closely than you have to me, Elizabeth. Wally. Wallace. My husband. Shall I go on?
But Wallace Hopkins was married to a scholar. She taught at Wesley. A Mildred.
Yes, Mildred Mary Gerard, who was an authority on Emily Dickinson, if memory serves. Is it my ditching Mildred that threw you?
You mean sold the book? Oh dear, I'm so sorry.
For what?
Well, I didn't.
For treating me like a country bumpkin who wouldn't know pentameter from a wooden spoon?
Well, no, not at all. I'm terribly sorry if I.
No need for apologies, Elizabeth. Ignorance set, if paired with curiosity.
But why carry his ashes about, Miss Gerard, and in such a crude container? One would think that you'd.
As I'm sure you know, he died just 6 months ago, and he had asked that I scatter his ashes a pinch at a time in favorite haunts of ours with close friends at hand, in the belief that it would soften my grieving. I started this pilgrimage in New Hampshire yesterday. Since the train was our favorite mode of travel, it just seemed a natural choice for distributing Wally and diluting my grief. As for the mason jar of our first date, the restaurant served us rum punch in 2 of these. And I'm still comforted by having him nearby, even after the weight loss.
How sweet.
Yeah, good friends and the comfort of old rituals.
One can certainly see that in his work, the realization of which allowed me to perceive the connection to classical myth, especially in that poem you referenced. How delightful to be able to discuss this with the woman he called his muse.
Take another look at that photo, Elizabeth. Tell me what you see.
Well, first, he appears to have his shirt off, and someone seems to have drawn a crude, pencil thin mustache on upper on his upper lip. Where was this taken?
Whew, they're almost symmetrical, don't you think? One curled under each nostril, like a cartoon devil's mustache. I was thinking at the time. Oh, Wally and I had such a laugh.
What am I supposed to see, Miss Gerard?
Those are 2 of my pubic hairs, Elizabeth, that just happened to end up there after Wally finished one of his favorite desserts. And mine too, certainly.
Good grief, Miss Gerard. I have apologized and will again if need be. There is no need to be vulgar.
Wally wrote that poem you have on the title page about an hour after I took that picture. It contains no classical or religious metaphors, just lovely lust. For 29 years, I was his first reader and his editor. He'd get a kick out of your pedantic foolishness. And then, at least for a moment, and then he'd be pissed as hell at your efforts to desiccate his passion.
Miss Gerard, I have done no such thing, I assure you. If you read my notes, you'll see that I celebrate his raw masculinity and the conscious purity of a male ethos.
It is fatal to be man or woman, pure and simple. One must be woman manly or man womanly.
Come again?
Virginia Woolf.
Oh, yes, of course. To the light, I imagine. But fiction is not my field.
A room of one's own, but no matter. It was on a placard that sat on Wally's desk, reminding him to always go beyond the dishes. In an effort to attack or justify the popularity of his poetry, you have given it pretensions that it does not possess. And in doing so, you've sucked its blood and musculature.
Arriving Providence shortly. Please exit on the right. All doors will be open. Providence, next stop. Mary rises and gathers her things, but returns Elizabeth's card as she steps into the aisle.
That's my stop. This looks expensive. I have no use for it.
Well, no, please, keep it. Let me visit you. I could learn. It would be invaluable. As you must know better than anyone, your husband left the academic world no exegesis at all.
Mary places the card on Elizabeth's tray along with the dollars for the coffee.
To live is so startling, it leaves little time for anything else. You can thank Emily for that one.
End of play.
All right. Thank you, cast. Thank Emily. If you joined us late, I'd like to take a moment to remind you that donations made during the performance tonight go to benefit the Geneva Theater Guild as we prepare 21 summer live virtual in the Angry Inch. If you're watching on our website, use the button in the header on the GTG website to make a donation via credit card, or we always accept donations by mail at P.O. Box 424, Geneva, New York, zip code 14456. And now, let's get to our next show, which our narrator, Linda Stevenson, will introduce.
Do I need to reread the intro? Sorry.
I think you can just go.
Starting over. 442 Pine by Connor Hibbard. Synopsis. Through a series of car rides, the memory of a tragedy brings two peers closer together. Characters: Mary, 18, the driver, played by Cassidy Grunwald. Elle, 17, the passenger, played by Katie Kreuter. Principal Greenwood, played by Joseph Barsha. Drive 1. Mary, 18, sits alone in her car after school waiting. A sleek white SUV, it's nothing fancy, but also nothing to scoff at. Passing by, you might notice how pristine it is, nary a spot on the windshield or the paint job. Inside the car, nothing is out of place, and everything looks as if it was fresh off the lot. Mary presses play on her phone. From the device, a static voice emerges.
Hello, this is Principal Jacob Greenwood of Ridgewood High School. It is with a heavy heart that I announce that Maxwell Morgan, a senior at RHS, died last night. Max was a tremendous student and friend who participated in several clubs, perhaps most notably as the devoted president of the Ridgewood Drama Club, which...
Mary abruptly closes the voicemail as L17 opens the passenger side door. She generally looks unkempt and unhappy, a far cry from Mary. She throws her bag loosely to the ground, not looking at Mary. A couple pens spill out from the half-opened bag onto the ground.
Sorry.
It's fine.
Mary's car rumbles and sputters as it powers up.
Can you put your seatbelt on? Thanks. What's your address again?
442 Pine Street.
Right. And how do I get there?
Left. I'll tell you when to turn.
Thanks.
Elle slowly reaches into her bag, pulling out a worn gray hoodie, unspectacular in every aesthetic way. Mary notices as Elle hugs it close.
Is that...
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I'm sorry, Ella. I know you...
Stop.
What?
Stop. I can't hear it anymore. Not from you.
Okay.
Elle buries her head once more into the hoodie for a moment that feels like a lifetime to her, before looking up, eyes red from silent tears.
Left here.
Okay.
Mary complies, screeching the car to a stop. Elle grabs her bag and quickly exits. Drive 2. Mary once again sits alone in her car, after school, waiting for Elle.
Hello, this is Principal Jacob Greenwood of Ridgewood High School. Last week I informed the RHS community of Max Morgan's passing. I'm calling once again to update the community on plans for the spring musical, which was postponed in the wake of last week's events. To give the cast ample time to process their friend's death, the musical has been postponed until April 12th. We hope that...
Elle's entrance once again interrupts the voicemail, which Mary shuts off abruptly. Elle wears Max's hoodie, the same one she had cradled close in the last car ride. The hood is up, her face hidden away from the world.
Are you just listening to it?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. It just makes me think of him.
Oh.
Sorry, where do you live again?
Oh, 442 Pine.
And how do I get there?
Left. I'll tell you when to turn again.
Okay. Thanks. Again.
You don't have to apologize.
Okay.
Everybody keeps apologizing to me, like it happened to me.
Right.
It's not my fault what happened.
No, of course not.
It's nobody's fault. It just happened.
I know.
Things just happen sometimes. And I'm sorry about last week.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
You can't help but lash out when something like this happens.
You just remind me of him.
Really?
Yeah. I always saw you two as a package deal. Huh. Okay.
I don't know. You were always hanging out together, making fun of each other, making each other laugh. Your friendship just seems so easy.
It was.
Yeah.
It was for you, too.
Well, I get that, Mary.
I know. Just whenever he was around me, he'd talk about you. Constantly. Almost to the point of annoyance.
Al's joy slowly fades into sadness. Sadness at the knowledge that the memory is just that, a memory.
And he really was amazing.
Yeah, he was.
And he loved you.
I know he did.
No, but really, he loved you so, so much. I've never seen him that way. I mean, you know, knew Max. He was usually pretty quiet, didn't really like talk about his feelings a lot. Stuff like that. Yeah, not with you.
Huh.
Yeah.
It was just, he was also so sarcastic with everything, you know? Always making jokes, acting some type of way, just to annoy me.
Yeah, he was like that. Always had a comeback.
Turn here.
Left?
Left.
I'm gonna remember that next time.
You're fine.
As the car comes to a stop, Al grabs her bag and smiles. Though her breath soon turned more melancholy, her face more morose.
What's wrong?
No, I'm fine. It's just every time I think about him, I get choked up. I'm not past that yet. Do you?
No. I I actually haven't cried.
Really?
Yeah.
You just can't?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like numb, if that's the right word. I don't think it is. I don't know. I miss him. And I'm sad. I can feel that. I know I can. I just can't cry for whatever reason.
Huh. I wish.
Al opens the door. As she bids Mary goodbye, she cannot help but choke up.
Thanks for the ride.
Anytime.
Drive 3.
Hi, Mary. I know you won't hear this for a while because you're in class right now, but I wanted to reach out and ask if you had any special plans for the musical in 2 weeks. If there's anything I should promote or make the public aware of, anything special you have planned to honor Max, let me know. You can email me or just pop into my office during study hall. Thanks, and break a leg.
Greenwood called you?
Yeah, he wants to know if we're doing anything special on opening night.
Oh. Are we?
I don't know yet.
We should.
I figured, but I just don't know what yet.
Talk to Chris about it?
I will tonight.
Right. We have rehearsal tonight.
Well, not exactly a rehearsal, more of a,
Get together?
yeah, a grieving get together.
I'm excited. I haven't seen anyone since,
Really? No one?
except for you. I've been pretty isolated outside of school. Which reminds me, would you mind giving me a ride there?
Sure.
Thanks.
Yeah. Which reminds me.
You don't know where you're going.
No.
It's okay. 442 Pine Street.
Right. Take a left, and then you'll tell me where to turn?
Yes.
Right. Sorry. I should probably know this by this point.
You're good. Max couldn't figure it out for the longest time.
Well, he needed his maps to get anywhere that wasn't school or his house.
Pretty much.
He came to pick me up for rehearsal one time last year when he had just gotten his license and I hadn't even taken my test yet. And my house is like maybe 10 minutes from his. So he was leaving and then didn't show up for like 30 minutes. So I called him and asked where he was. And he said, do you know what he said?
No, but I'm not optimistic.
He said that he was just seeing the sign for Montclair.
Oh no.
The man had gone 20 minutes out of his way. When he got to my house, he told me, sorry, I missed a turn and didn't know where to turn around.
You said driveway, you idiot.
Exactly.
Their laughter grows, as does their connection. Mary wipes away a tear, not from crying, but from laughing, when a sudden and loud horn blares. Cal screams, and Mary swerves right to avoid the collision. An abrupt silence descends upon the duo. Mary tightly and tensely grips.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I wonder what he was thinking about before he got hit.
I think about that too.
What do you think he was thinking about?
You?
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I thought he was thinking about you. Here.
Mary turns onto Pine Street, parking at her usual spot in front of 440. Al grabs her bag, exits the car without saying a word, back to her solitude. Drive 4. Drive 4.
You know where you're going?
Yep. 442 Pine, turn right.
Left. Yeah.
Al, about what happened?
It's fine. We're alive.
No, not even the car. And I'm sorry about that too, but I mean,
I know.
yeah. Really, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable.
You know, I never really liked you.
Oh,
Not really because of who you were or who you are. I just could never shake the feeling that he was in love with you.
what?
Come on, you don't think Max had at all?
No.
Well, I did.
What
You.
makes you think that?
You were just, I don't know, you were just so close, really. He knew everything about you, and you knew everything about him. Even when we were together at our happiest, at the peak of our love, I always felt like there was a little subconscious piece of him that I couldn't get to. Something he wasn't sharing with me, whether he meant to or not. But you never had that problem with him, did you?
No, not really.
Right. Exactly. You know when I thought I knew?
When?
Oh, when I saw you two at prom. You stole him away for one dance, and I was just sitting at the table drinking my punch, and The way you wrapped your arms around his neck and the way he smiled at you, it was like in that moment you had showed him the world, and all I could ever give him was a little corner of it. God, I could never get over that.
Really? That was your problem this whole time?
What do you mean this whole time?
I kind of figured out that you didn't really like me, but I never knew it was because of prom.
I mean, it was more than that, but
No, I know. Oh, look. Max and I did love each other very deeply, but not like that. He and I could never have what you had with him. We just, I don't know, we just got each other. He was my rock and I was his. But I know for a fact that the little corner of world you two had, he loved the most. God, El. And he loved you with everything. I don't know if you believe in fate, or God, or heaven, or whatever.
not really.
That's fine. But if there is a God, and I believe there is, then I believe that he made your love happen for a reason. And a good one, too.
You believe everything happens for a reason?
Yeah,
Even the crash?
yes, I think. I don't know anymore.
Turn here.
Yeah.
Mary turns accordingly, parking briefly in her familiar spot, getting a brief glance at the sacred 442 pine. This time, though, Elle does not exit the car immediately. Instead, she points off stage, toward her house.
You see that platform up by the roof with the 2 lawn chairs?
Yeah?
My dad built that for my birthday last year, so Max and I could sit out there and watch the stars together. That's where he first told me he loved me.
And you said it back?
Are you kidding? I was practically saying it before he even finished. And the doorstop in the garage. First kiss.
Really?
Yep. Most unromantic first kiss spot I've heard of. And right about there, right there, that spot in the middle of the lawn where the post is.
Yeah?
I put it there to remember exactly where it happened.
Where what happened?
We were lying in the snow at that point, because why not, I guess. We were lying in the snow and holding hands, and we were all bundled up in our hats and gloves and coats and scarves, so neither of us could really move in all the gear, but we were there, and his glove was on mine, and he managed to turn his head to the side, and I managed to turn my head to him, and he said,
What? What did he say?
he just said, "Oh, I love you. I'm going to love you forever." He died a week later.
Elle, tearing up, embraces Mary.
Thank you, Mary.
Oh, honey, of course.
Thank you. I love you.
I love you too, Elle.
The pair embrace for a moment more, careful not to sully the moment, before Elle finally releases the hug, grabs her bag, and exits the car. Mary calls out to her.
Elle!
What?
You know, you don't have to be alone, right?
What do you mean?
I can come inside if you want.
Thanks, but I think I want to see Max for a little while.
Mary nods knowingly and lets Elle go. She waves goodbye to Mary as she walks toward the memories at 442 Pine. Drive 5. Mary waits once again in her car. Her face is adorned in stage makeup, her hair glistening with bobby pins, waiting for Elle to arrive. When she finally does, she looks much the same as Mary, though not wearing Max's old hoodie this time. A sleeve pokes out of the backpack she carries with her.
Ready?
Ready.
Mary pulls out of the parking lot, turning left, much to Elle's surprise.
You finally know.
It took me long enough.
Will you remember where Pine Street is, though?
Oh, I could never forget.
You sounded really great tonight.
Oh, thanks. You did too.
Well, I was crying half the time, but I did my best.
Oh my God. Don't even worry. Everyone loved it.
I was worried I was getting pity applause.
Seriously, I have never heard applause like that. That couldn't have been out of pity. It was out of love.
Yeah,
Everyone loves him.
us most of all.
You couldn't be more right.
Thanks for everything, Mary.
You don't have to thank me.
Seriously, I couldn't have gotten through this without you. I mean, I'm still not through it. I don't know if I ever will be.
You will be. You're so young, full of life, full of possibility. He would have loved to see you soar.
Thanks, Mary. Same for you.
Well, I'll do my best.
Sorry about what I said about not liking you that much.
No, it's totally fine.
I know I shouldn't have felt that way. I'm just glad he had someone like you who loved him so much.
Yeah, I'm glad too.
Without prompt, Mary turns onto Pine Street.
Wow, you actually remembered. I'm flabbergasted.
Flabbergasted?
I'm branching out.
Well, here you go.
Thanks.
No problem. I can take you home whenever.
No, not for the ride. Well, yes, for the ride, but just in general. For Max.
Oh, sure.
Elle embraces Mary once again, but softer and more loving this time. This embrace is not born out of tears and painful memories. This is born of companionship, love, and hope for the future.
I'm sure he's thanking you too.
Elle exits the car, walking once more into 442 Pine. Instead of driving away, Mary sits there, watching her go, watching her best friend's love walk into her home, the place where so many memories were born. As she stares on, she begins to cry. She buries her head in her hands as the tears flow, uncontrollable, uninhibited, and welcome. Noticing this, Elle turns around and walks to the driver's side door, opening it, welcoming Mary into her world.
You don't have to be alone either.
Elle extends her hand for her friend, which Mary takes. They walk, hands joined, toward Elle's house, with Mary still crying for Max for the first time. Just a few more steps, though, and they'll be together in 442 Pine. Blackout. End of play.
You to the cast of 442 Pine for that beautiful performance. We're about to head right now into the final installment of It's Your Mother. So before we do, let me remind you that if you submit the play's full cabbage soup recipe to us, you'll be eligible to win a basket of FLX goodies, Finger Lakes goodies. Submissions will be accepted once tonight.
My Mother by Cameron Oliver.
Huh.
Cameron, don't say your name. I know who you are. Just start your speech.
My mother was born in Youngstown, Ohio in 1970. My grandfather worked in the steel mills, and my grandmother was a housewife. She has 3 siblings, 2 brothers and 1 sister. She graduated top in her class in 1988 from Cardinal Mooney Catholic High School and went to Villanova University in Pennsylvania, where she studied art history. She never graduated because she had me. Thank you.
Peter? Cameron, what was personal about that story?
What do you mean?
That was an application for a driver's license. This needs to be personal. That wasn't a personal story. Tell me something your mother once said that was funny about her.
My mother's not funny.
Okay, well, your speech was just the historical facts about her life. Can you tell me about any of her hobbies?
She makes curtains.
Okay, does she make anything else?
I mean, she made my sister's prom dress and my niece's christening gown.
So she likes to make things with her hands.
Yeah, I guess. Sewing's with your hands. Yeah.
Okay, so my mother, what's your mother's name?
Oh, Lynn.
Okay, Lynn loves to make things with her hands.
Uh-huh. The curtains in the house were made by my mom, and my sister's prom dress, and my niece's christening gown. They were all made by my mom, Lynn.
Okay, you have a good start there. I want you to rewrite this tonight and come back tomorrow with a personal story about your mother. Okay, who's next? Peter! Get up there.
I did this wrong.
Well, let's just hear what you have and we'll decide if it works or not.
Okay. Here goes. My mother, Barbara, is an accountant for the city of Toms River. She works long hours, but she still manages to come home and order us a pizza for dinner. I guess my personal story about her could be the one time she took off work to be class mother for a 4th grade field trip to the planetarium, but she took off for the wrong day. I know she goofs up sometimes with me, sisters, and me, but we don't have a dad, and she's doing the best she can. She really loves us. Thank you.
Okay, that was a little better. You need to rewrite with a proper introduction and conclusion, but you need to remember it needs to be at least 3 minutes long, and yours was about 45 seconds. But rewrite it tonight and have it ready by tomorrow, okay? Who is next? Hannah.
First off, I don't have a mom. Well, I had one, but she died.
I'm really sorry. When did it happen?
It was 5 years ago. I was thinking about what you said about a personal story, and I was trying to remember things I had done with her, but it was really hard, because I couldn't.
Well, what do you have written there?
Just something I wrote about when she was sick. She made videos, but I don't know. I don't really think it's what you wanted.
Well, let's hear it.
Okay, my mom was sick for a while. She made videos, the kinds that are always shown on Oprah. She had been watching the show and realized that she had things she wanted me to know. And there are certain videos for my graduation, for when I get married, and when I have my first kid. It kind of makes it easier, but I wish she were here. So I popped in one of the videos that my mom titled Scrapbook, and in it she was going through photos and reminding me of things we did together. The day I remember especially was when we were in the park together. It was during the fall and I was 10. We didn't have school because it was a holiday, but there were no other people in the park and I felt like we were alone in the world and I had my mom all to myself. We played frisbee for a while, then ate sandwiches under the trees. We laid down on our backs and looked at the clouds and made up stories about their shapes. That's when she told me that she believed that all the people who had died lived above the clouds and would move them to make shapes, to let us know that they were there in heaven, still thinking of us. I like to go to the park and look up to the sky to see my mother. She's always there.
I guess she gets 100 because she made us cry.
Thank you, Hannah. That was really lovely. If anyone else has a speech like this one, please hand out the tissues ahead of time. That's the kind of personal story I want you all to write about. Not that you should try and make us cry, but it should be personal. A private moment you had with your mom, one that you want to share with us. But we'll pick up here tomorrow. Hello, Mom. A bunch of celery.
All right. Thank you to the cast of It's Your Mother for that final installment of the show we've been doing. I think it's time now that we bring back in all our actors and the authors we have with us, the directors for the talkback session. So let's give everyone a chance to pop back in. All right. Folks are still joining us, but we can kind of get started.
No.
I know we have at least one author with us tonight, correct?
Yes, hello.
Hi, Connor. Or do we have anybody else? Any of the authors of It's Your Mother or Thank Emily? Anybody? No? Okay, all right. I guess all the author questions are all on you tonight, Connor. But welcome. It's great that you could be with us during the performance.
No.
I know we have at least one author with us tonight, correct? So real quick, whoever's got the live stream on, turn it off. It's Your Mother or Thank Emily. Anybody? No? All right. I guess all the author questions are. Thank you, folks. So Connor, that was a great little show. Typically the question we have for the author is asking where your inspiration comes from. I don't know, because it was such a heavy show, you're welcome to answer as you wish there, or not answer if you prefer. But yeah, if we could just get a little bit of your mindset while you were writing it.
Yeah, so I wrote this in January after Larry Ann Evans passed away. For those who know GTG, she was my director in high school. So I was just thinking a lot about death at the time. And I just kind of stumbled upon this idea of what if, one of my cast members, one of my classmates had died in senior year. So that's where that came from. This is not a play like about Larry Ann or anything, but she's always in the back of my mind with pretty much everything theatrically that I do.
Right.
So that's the place where I was coming from. Yeah.
Right. Well, thank you for sharing that. So the other big thing that we did for these last 6 weeks was our serialized show, It's Your Mother. I know, is Shanna here in the chat with us? No? Some of the cast is, though, correct? Yes. Shanna is here.
Hi, sorry, my computer was doing a funny thing.
You're fine. I just want to get a little insight because you kind of had a unique thing this year with Playwrights in that for a lot of us, for a lot of the directors, they did one show or two shows. You basically had a show every week, even though it was like continue. It was the same show. Yeah. Was there anything about that was? What was that process like for you?
I mean, it definitely put a little bit of the pressure on because it's kind of a long script. If I did it consecutively only once, it would be about an hour and a half. So that was definitely a challenge. It was fun in the sense of there was a lot of different unique scenarios going on that I really enjoyed. It was fun working with different actors each week because in a way, the story is not really connected. But what's interesting about the phone call is that I feel like the mother in the phone calls is at least apparent to each of the kids in each scene. It's very odd how it connects in a way.
Right. And so I don't know if we ever had the authors of It's Your Mother join us for one of these. Did you ever get a chance to connect with them and see like what their thought process was when they were writing it?
Yeah, I had reached out to them months, a while ago for when we first started, and I sent them the dates for this. I think they had been watching it. I just don't think that they ever joined the talkback, but every time I reached out to them, they seemed to have a really positive response. It seemed like the two authors just had a really positive experience writing this together from real life experiences. So I've been lucky enough to receive some positive feedback with that, given that the script is so fun and relatable for a lot of people. So hopefully they've enjoyed it.
Right. And Roger, kind of our Thank Emily representative.
Talk back, but every time I reached out to them, they seemed to have a really positive.
Can you mute the YouTube
authors just had a really
my YouTube is off.
together from real life
I
experiences.
can hear an echo coming through the. There we go.
Wait a minute. Let's see if this is.
Feedback with
Okay, it was there. Okay, I thought I turned it off.
Thank Emily.
Yeah, we had 2 or 3 rounds of discussion. What I was really interested in was who this W.S. Hopkins was based on, and we exchanged a little bit. And Catherine Loomis, our narrator, is a scholar of that sort of thing, and so she helped me work that out. And I don't have the piece of paper written down where one of them was obviously Gerard Manley Hopkins, but there were 3 other poets, one of whom I'd heard of and forgotten who it is, and then 2 modern Americans that I did not know at all. I don't. Catherine, are you here? If Catherine, you're here, you should pop up and talk about this. Well, I guess she's not anymore. But yeah, so that was the thing, to find out who those were about, and then to try to set up the surprise here, the younger woman, the younger professional woman, and there she is. Catherine, you can tell us all about the poets.
So the other poets were Billy Collins, Philip Levine, and I'm sorry, I can't remember the third one, who's at UVA, sorry. But they were working class poets, or kind of working class voices. And it was really great to see the way that they were kind of merged into W.S. Hopkins, the poet of the play. So.
And Catherine dug us up a poem by each of the ones I hadn't heard of, and they were really nice, distributed among the cast. I think it helped us all a little bit. I mean, the play on its surface is about gotcha, and we tried to play the gotcha, but the other stuff was kind of down there. It was an intellectual gotcha. So I thought that was fun, and I had wonderful people to work with, so it was great.
Nice. Well, we could probably chat back and forth about our whole process all night, but I think I'm gonna, take us to wrapping up now. Thank you everyone for being here for the talkback session. Thank you to our directors for the wonderful jobs you did, for all the hard work you put in. I think all of GTG wants to thank our healthcare workers in the Finger Lakes and around the world who have continued to help keep us safe and healthy during the past year. We support you. Thank you for your service to our community. Once again, thank you to our directors, our actors, our authors, some of whom are here, without whom none of this would have been possible. We wish you all a great evening. Please remember to wash your hands, observe any local health and safety mandates, and stay safe and healthy. One last thing before everyone heads out. We like to help other local theaters, and we have a list of upcoming events, some of which will be online, some of which are starting to do like a live virtual hybrid thing. So on June 3rd, from June 3rd to the 6th at 8 p.m., Theater 444 will present Nonsense Amen, both virtually and live at the Waterloo Library and Historical Society. You should check their Facebook page for more information there. On June 18th through the 20th, Seneca Community Players will present Edgar Lee Masters' Spoon River Anthology live online. And they've got a really cool concept there where all the actors will be beaming in live from cemeteries around the Finger Lakes. So definitely check that out. And then finally, on June 26th, GTG will be presenting both live and virtually an evening of song and monologues in memory of our dear friend, Larry Ann Evans, one of our beloved board members who left an irreplaceable mark on the Finger Lakes community and the world. If you wish to perform or speak in honor of Larry Ann, either in person or remotely, we ask that you please RSVP by Friday, June 4th. That's next Friday. For more information, you can visit the GTG Facebook page. There's a link to the form to sign up there. We welcome all your submissions. With that, thank you everybody for joining us this evening. Thank you for sticking with us for all 6 weeks through all the ups and downs. We hope you've enjoyed it. Have a wonderful night.
And thank you, Dan.
Goodbye.
Yes, thank you, Dan
Thank you,
Godwin.
Dan.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.